Hi, my name is Eddie, and I'm here to explain my philosophy. I would like to say that my background includes a lot of study within philosophy and a lot of philosophers. I myself consider myself a philosopher. These are sort of my notes in preparation for a book that I plan to write one day. I'm loading them on YouTube. It's because I want to explain what my philosophy is and how I see the world. It's a little different than what most people are used to. I'm influenced by a lot of things. Some of my many influences include atheistic sort of thoughts, Nietzsche, a lot of existentialism, logic, argument, meanings of argument, things like that of that nature. I also study things of religious nature, such as Kant and Derrida, Christian and Islamic philosophers. I also look at philosophers involved in activism, such as Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. I think that I studied a wide range of philosophies, which allows me to have a very varied perspective on different ideologically associated with religion. And as I said, I myself am an atheist completely. I don't believe in any gods. I do not believe. I do believe that God is in man, and man is God, all in one. And that's just man in general. No special man, no special Jesus, is no special type of person, is a specific divine person. But that all men are essentially their own God. And with that, you have civilization, and a civilization which someone lives, and their perspectives on themselves and their life. In a lot of my philosophy, I include Africa, and it is not because that I'm African American. It is because at the basic core of my philosophy is, who am I? What am I? Where am I from, and where am I going as a human being? As a human being in specific and in general. Um, and as a human being, I credit the source of all that is human with Africa. I could be white with blonde hair and blue eyes and still make that conclusion. I can be in the United States, or I could be any European or Eastern country in the world. I can have different features. So at the core of my argument is not that because I'm black, I just like Africa and Africa's all great. No, it's more of at the core of my philosophy is that Africa is at the core of humanity, and to learn who humanity is, you must learn who Africa is. And that is sort of how I see things. I see life as different doors of perspective. Um, as an atheist, I believe that my philosophy is one that of sort of Rossian, whereas I sort of look at the world as it's new every day, um, like a veil. Like to me, atheism is that veil that I can step out of the society, culture, and religion that I'm around, that I see every day on a daily basis, and look at it from an objective perspective. And so it's more of a way of looking at things from the outside rather than from the inside, sort of out the box. Um, I want to stress that I'm not against any particular religion, but Christianity I have a few problems with, so you might hear me on the tack a little bit, but more, not more of the religion of itself, but how people perceive it, and therefore the choices they make in their life because of the religion. I am not necessarily a consequentialist, but I do think that people's prima facie reasons for doing things lead to the consequences they render in their life. I believe that life is more of a series of solving problems. And I'm going to talk about how religion and philosophy um, answers the questions of how to solve life's problems for different peoples, for different reasons, in different areas, in different places. What do I consider culture? Culture and language is hard to separate those things. Also, it's also hard to separate them from politics. Culture is everything, a way a person does everything throughout the day, the way they speak, the way they talk, the way they walk, where they go, what they do, how they celebrate, everything in their lives is guided by culture. So when you're within a culture, it's really hard to see it from an objective standpoint of view. For myself, the two things that I'm always comparing, because I'm not real familiar with Eastern culture, but I have studied upon it. I've studied the Teo. I've studied different forms of Eastern thought, and I will talk about it from time to time. Modern philosophies that most people don't think of as philosophies, things like that I consider modern philosophy, Tupac, and different rap artists. I consider some of them to be philosophic. Um, Different people like Ray Hagen, he runs a Black African Consciousness church. I think that's pretty interesting. I listen to his stuff every now and then. A lot of 60s people. Um, the Church of Intelligence from the 60s, the Black Panthers, the Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Islam, Christianity, and the hippie movement. A lot of these things have influenced me in my thought in my life. Um, and I'm going to talk about all those philosophies and how they help me to achieve my particular philosophy I feel about the world. In my philosophy, you will hear a lot of contrast. Um, I consider this Western world we live in, which is a Roman world. It has this Judea system, its governmental systems, its most of the systems in the society we live in were created by Roman ideals. And for me, that basically includes the world today. But African culture, which people consider Islam African culture, I consider it more of an offshoot of Islam and Christianity. So I'm just going to put those into, people don't like me to do that, they're sort of in a box. The Judeo-Christianic Islamic box, which I'm just going to label a sort of Zoroastrianism and call it that. The reason is because those religions offer ideas of end of the world or ultimatum to life. And that's very important because African cultures and religions offer a continuation of life. Most of the religions that were formed by Africans on their own without help from anyone, anywhere beyond themselves, which is at the core of humanity, were created around continuation of life, where these other three or four religions are concentrated around of some end ultimatum to life or some end ultimate universal ultimate society, which to me is completely impossible. It will never happen. Even if you get most of the people of the world to agree on Christianity, it will never be the same Christianity because everybody in every different section would have a different version of it. Same thing, my same argument with communism. If you try communism and you try to spread it all over the world, people will naturally break down into their own little conclaves or in groups and out groups, which will eventually just break the whole thing down and it will mean nothing. It just becomes like, you're special, well, everybody's special, and the whole thing has no meaning. So, which doesn't make it one, it just makes it a lot of confusion, in my opinion, because that's the nature of human being, and that's another thing I like to bring into my argument: psychology and the natures of human. That's going to be it today of what I consider my philosophy, and I will add more as the days come. Thank you.